Hi everyone, I'm Zhang, a research assistant from City University of Hong Kong. I'm honored to present our work Becoming My Own Audience, How Dancers React to Avatars Unlike Themselves in Motion Capture Supported Live Improvisational Performance. First, let's imagine if you were a dancer. You had a dream. In this dream, you woke up and found yourself becoming an identity unlike yourself. Naturally, as a dancer, you started to explore this space using movement. Suddenly, you found a portal. You walked into the portal and found yourself gaining 50 pounds. How would you perceive your body and moving it? Will you start to imitate a heavier body? This time, you found yourself becoming an opposite gender. Will you start to do gendered movements? This time you back to original identity, but suddenly you saw a car. It's a car crashment. You suddenly found yourself in a wheelchair. How to move now? Will you just fix your lower body? Will you even feel an emotional change? Another portal appeared. What happened? You have your legs back. But when you try to reach out to the butterflies, you found that where are your arms? So this is what we did in our study. Let's first check out a video. In our study, we designed 5 different avatars. First, normative condition, then the heavyset condition, which is heavier than our dancers. Then we have gender opposition, male avatar for female dancers, and female avatars for male dancers. This is wheelchair condition. We placed a normal seat in the space as a set. The final is no arms condition. To give you some background, motion capture technology has been incorporated into live performances. For example, these are some artists performing with motion capture generated avatars. However, when performers embodying a completely different identity, someone with a different body, gender, and set of physical limitations, how does this affect their movement, their creativity, their sense of self? These are our research questions. How do the features of avatars affect dancers' movement and perceptions in motion capture supported live performances? Each dancer experienced 5 conditions. The first row were experienced by female dancers, and the second row were experienced by male dancers. We conducted workshops with 15 non-disabled professional dancers. First, start with introduction. They get familiar with the avatar and environment for 5 minutes. Then the first stage is improvisation with 5 different avatars, around 2 minutes each, then following with an embodiment questionnaire. This repeated for 5 times. The second stage is an improvisation performance using the dream concept, following with a semi-structured interview. And the workshop took place in this immersive space with a cylindrical projection screen. And we have 1 dancer wearing a full set of motion capture suit in the space. So what did we find? First, dancers distance themselves from habitual movements, which is also called defamiliarization effect. We found different defamiliarization effects according to different avatar features. First, with normative avatars, dancers reacted similar to their daily practice. Then with heavyset avatar, they did slower and heavier movement. And they did gendered movement with the gender opposition condition, self-restricted movement with avatars of physical limitations. For example, first, according to our CV result, when performing with the heavyset avatar, they lowered their center of gravity to imitate a heavier body. Then, when performing with gender opposition, our female dancers did powerful movement or male postures, and our male dancers did feminine movements. Also, they experimented with feminine movement with male avatar. With avatars of physical limitations, our CB results show that they restricted both their upper and lower limbs due to physical limitations of avatars. They also discovered creativity even from constraints. For example, they found that avatars failed to show delicate movements, which made our P4 did larger movement instead. They also discovered the constraint from mocap suit itself, and they adapted their movement to technical constraints. And when P6 found avatar distortion, she spread her legs. However, focusing on avatars sometimes disrupted continuity in improvisation. For example, our P5 stated that if focused too much on the external shape of avatars, they would be difficult to dig inward to find out where the movement comes from. Second part, their perceptions. For example, when dancing with avatars of physical limitations, they self-restricted their body parts due to the physical limitations of the avatars themselves. For example, P3 restricted her lower limbs, and these dancers put their hands on shoulders, hips to imitate avatar without arms. However, while the wheelchair avatar gave them a strong sense of restriction, dancers perceived freedom from the no arms avatar. For example, P6 experimented with the cartwheel movement 3 times to observe somersault on the no arms avatar. This is consistent with our survey result. Our survey has a main scale of total embodiment, 4 subscales: appearance, location, agency, and ownership. We have a significant main value of wheelchair condition on total embodiment, and tending significance of wheelchair condition on location and ownership, which means dancers felt the avatar in a wheelchair less resemble their own body. They also reported shifting roles of avatars. As an extension of self, it allows dancers to become their own audience, which is quite intuitive. However, as a dance partner, it's difficult to communicate with and has no natural feedback. In our study, we found the potential of avatars to support movement-based representation of underrepresented groups in dance. Instead of perfect bodies, we include every body in dance. We also found the potential of avatar to disrupt stereotypes and norms through constraints. In our study, we found our dancers first move with stereotypes, then gradually discover their stereotypes throughout the process. Finally, some of them started to break free from stereotypes and uncover new movement possibilities. We also found deferred defamiliarization effects. As the extent itself, avatars can guide movement in an intuitive way, evoke dancers' inner thoughts. However, as partner, the lack of physical sensations and constant feedback made them hard to establish connections with avatars like with human partners. To address these, we propose several designs. For example, incorporating multisensory feedback and facial expressions in realistic avatars to make it closer to human partners, or simply use abstract avatars to embrace the abstract nature of kinesthetic creativity. I would like to wrap up here, but also encourage everyone who is listening to think about, if you are in a wheelchair body, how do you perceive your own body and moving it? Thank you for listening. Please feel free to check our full paper.